Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Truthful Word, Volume 9, Book 91, Number 352372. Volume 9, Book 91, Number 352. Narrated by Malik. We came to the Prophet and we were young men nearly of equal ages, and we stayed with him for 20 nights. Allah's apostle was a very kind man, and when he realized our longing for our families, he asked us about those whom we had left behind. When we informed him, he said, "Go back to your families and stay with them and teach them religion, and order them to do good deeds." The Prophet mentioned things, some of which I remembered and some I did not. Then he said, "Pray as you have seen me praying, and when it is the time of prayer, one of you should pronounce the call, adhan, for the prayer, and the eldest of you should lead the prayer." Volume 9, Book 91, Number 353. Narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. Allah's apostle said, "The call for prayer, adhan of Bilal, should not stop any one of you from taking his suhoor, for he pronounces the adhan in order that whoever among you is praying the night prayer may return to eat his suhoor, and whoever among you is sleeping may get up, for it is not yet dawn." When it is like this, Yahya, the sub-narrator, stretched his 2 index fingers sideways. Volume 9, Book 91, Number 354. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. The Prophet said, "Bilal pronounces the adhan at night so that you may eat and drink till Ibn Maktum pronounces the adhan for the Fajr prayer." Volume 9, Book 91, Number 355. Narrated by Abdullah. The Prophet led us in Zuhr prayer and prayer 5 rakat. Somebody asked him whether the prayer had been increased. He, the Prophet, said, "And what is that?" They, the people, replied, "You have prayed 5 rakat." Then the Prophet offered 2 prostrations of Sahu after he had finished his prayer with the taslim. Volume 9, Book 91, Number 356. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle finished his prayer after offerings 2 rakat only. Dhul Yadan asked him whether the prayer had been reduced, or you had forgotten. The Prophet said, "Is Dhul Yadan speaking the truth?" The people said, "Yes." Then Allah's apostle stood up and performed another 2 rakat, and then finished prayer with taslim, and then said the takbir and performed a prostration similar to or longer than his ordinary prostrations. Then he raised his head, said takbir and prostrated, and then raised his head, sahu prostrations. Volume 9, Book 91, Number 357. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. While the people were at Quba offering the morning prayer, suddenly a person came to them saying, "Tonight divine inspiration has been revealed to Allah's apostle, and he has been ordered to face the Kaaba in prayers. Therefore you people should face it." Their faces were towards Sham, so they turned their faces towards the Kaaba at Mecca. Volume 9, Book 91, Number 358. Narrated by Al-Bara. When Allah's apostle arrived at Medina, he prayed facing Jerusalem for 16 or 17 months, but he wished that he would be ordered to face the Kaaba. So Allah revealed, "Verily, We have seen the turning of your face towards the heaven. Surely we shall turn you to a prayer direction, Qibla, that shall please you. 2.144. Thus he was directed towards the Kaaba. A man prayed the Asr prayer with the Prophet and then went out, and passing by some people from the Ansar, he said, I testify that I have prayed with the Prophet and he, the Prophet, has prayed facing the Kaaba. Thereupon they, who were bowing in the Asr prayer, turned towards the Kaaba. Volume 9, Book 91, number 359. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. I used to offer drinks prepared from infused dates to Abu Talha al-Ansari, Abu Ubadah bin al-Jarrah and Ubay bin Kabi. Then a person came to them and said, all alcoholic drinks have been prohibited. Abu Talha then said, O Anas, get up and break all these jars. So I got up and took a mortar belonging to us, and hit the jars with its lower part till they broke. Volume 9, Book 91, number 360. Narrated by Hadith. The Prophet said to the people of Najran, I will send to you an honest person who is really trustworthy. The companion of the Prophet each desired to be that person, but the Prophet sent Abu Ubaidah. Volume 9, Book 91, number 361. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, for every nation there is an Amin, honest, trustworthy person, and the Amin of this nation is Abu Ubaidah. Volume 9, Book 91, number 362. Narrated by Umar. There was a man from the Ansar, who was a friend of mine. If he was not present in the company of Allah's Apostle, I used to be present with Allah's Apostle. I would tell him what I used to hear from Allah's Apostle, and when I was absent from Allah's Apostle he used to be present with him. And he would tell me what he used to hear from Allah's Apostle. Volume 9, Book 91, number 363. Narrated by Ali. The Prophet sent an army and appointed some man their commander. The man made a fire and then said to the soldiers, enter it. Some of them intended to enter it while some others said, we have run away from it, i.e., embraced Islam to save ourselves from the fire. They mentioned that to the Prophet, and he said about people who had intended to enter the fire, if they had entered it, they would have remained in it till the day of resurrection. Then he said to others, no obedience for evil deeds, obedience is required only in what is good. Volume 9, Book 91, number 364. Narrated by Abu Hurairah and Zayd bin Khalid. Two men sued each other before the Prophet. Volume 9, Book 91, number 365. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. While we were with Allah's Apostle, a Bedouin got up and said, O Allah's Apostle, settle my case according to Allah's book, laws. Then his opponent got up and said, O Allah's Apostle, he has said the truth. Settle his case according to Allah's book, laws, and allow me to speak. He said, my son was a laborer for this man and he committed illegal sexual intercourse with his wife. The people told me that my son should be stoned to death, but I ransomed him with 100 sheep and a slave girl. Then I asked the religious learned people and they told me that his wife should be stoned to death and my son should receive 100 lashes and be sentenced to 1 year of exile. The Prophet said, by him in whose hands my life is, I will judge between you according to Allah's book, laws. As for the slave girl and the sheep, they are to be returned. And as for your son, he shall receive 100 lashes and will be exiled for 1 year. You, O Ane, addressing a man from Bani Aslam, go tomorrow morning to the wife of this man, and if she confesses, then stone her to death. The next morning Ane went to the wife and she confessed, and he stoned her to death.